My family, for generations back, from my ancestors, have all been Mormons for a very long time. And I've been raised that the Mormon way was the only way, and that if you even thought about going to another church or another belief, that you weren't Christian and then you were going to go to hell. I grew up to understand and be like, okay, this is the true church. But over time, I started studying the scriptures more and more, and then I started finding flaws in each of their scriptures because I was reading the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible. And the more I read, the more I realized that something was fishy about the Mormon church, and I wanted to learn more, so I studied more, and the more I read, the more I realized that this church really was not a Christian church, because there were so many contradictory things in there, from the way they described Adam and Eve and how Jesus came about. And once I became 18, I actually had the choice to leave the church because my parents forced me to go since I was little, and I ended up getting into paganism right away after Mormonism, and I got more into paganism as time went, and so much I was so deluded that when I went to Iraq, I had missiles blown up not far from me and explosions, and I should have died, but I know now that it was God's grace and God's love that saved me, because he had plans for me. But back then I believed in that it was a goddess that saved me, so I was really deluded. And after I left the army, I came to Renton for a while, and that actually is where God brought me my wife Christine, who has been a great blessing on my life, because she kept on doing the Christian thing and asking me if I would go with her to church, if I'd want to go with her. And for a while I kept saying no. Why on earth would I want to go to a Christian church? I know how the Christian churches are, because I believed that Mormon was Christian. So I came to church with her one day when she got baptized, and I know that God put a little seed in me, because I felt like I started questioning things like, okay, some of this is actually sounding a little bit truthful. This is nothing like what the Mormon church was. And they said they were Christians, but these people are different. Then Christine and I got engaged, and we started having marriage counseling with Pastor Russ. And the books that he had us read were Christian-based books, which actually were making more sense to me and helping me understand how Christian faith really is and the love that there really is in the church. And then one day Pastor Russ explained to me how if he drew a picture of a valley and we're standing on one side and God is on the other, and if we tried to get to him, it's impossible. We will just die no matter what we try. But then God sent his only son to die for us, and he drew a picture of the cross bridging the gap between the valley, and that represented Jesus. And right then and there, something hit home to me, and I just started crying. I knew. And Pastor Russ asked me if I was wanting to pray with him to accept Christ in my life, and I knew, and I said yes. And from that day on, I accepted Christ into my life. And basically, the comparison between life as a pagan and life as a Christian would be, when I was a pagan, I kept on trying to find fulfillment and find love, where I kept looking for it everywhere, and even in other pagans, in women. And I was just so hollow and trying to figure out why I couldn't find what I needed to fill my heart and fill what was that empty spot. And then when I became Christian, it instantly, God just filled it up with warmth and love, and I knew right then and there why I was looking for so long and what I was missing. And it just amazes me every day what God's love does for each of us. My name is Tyrell Welker, and this is my freedom story.